Hello again, fellow traveler. Close your eyes, if you like, and breathe slowly. Let the weight of the day dissolve. Let your thoughts drift like dust in space. You are safe. You are still. And you are about to begin a journey, not across continents or oceans, but across the known universe. Tonight, we follow the quiet pull of curiosity to one of the greatest mysteries of existence, the edge of the universe. But before we go outward, we go inward. Imagine, just for a moment, that you are no longer bound to the earth. Gravity has gently loosened its grip. The sky is no longer above you, it is around you. Stars no longer twinkle. They shimmer steadily, calmly, like candlelight in deep water. Above you, the Milky Way stretches in silent arcs. Beyond that, more galaxies, each one containing billions of suns. Each sun perhaps surrounded by planets, some of them blue, some dry, some quiet, some not, and all of them drifting outward on a sea of dark space. You are floating now, not fast, not far, but with purpose, toward the farthest thing you can imagine. We ask a simple question tonight, a child's question, perhaps, a philosopher's question, a question that even our most powerful instruments have not yet answered. Where is the edge of the universe, and what, if anything, lies beyond it? It sounds like the beginning of a fiction story, but it is not. This is real as your heartbeat, as real as the faint background hum of the universe that scientists can still detect. To find the edge, we must first understand what kind of place we live in. The universe, the totality of everything, all space, all time, all matter, all energy, everything that exists, and, perhaps, everything that can exist. But if the universe contains everything, can it have an edge? That is the mystery, and it is deeper than it seems. Edges are part of our everyday experience. The edge of a table, the edge of a cliff, the edge of the sky as it meets the sea. But these are edges between one thing and another, wood and air, stone and space, earth and atmosphere. So when we ask about the edge of the universe, we must ask, what is it the edge of, and what is it next to? The answers are not simple, but the journey toward them is beautiful. The ancient sky watchers looked up and imagined a dome overhead. Beyond that, they dreamed of gods, fire, or water. The great astronomers of the Renaissance realized the earth orbited the sun, and that the stars were not painted on a ceiling but scattered across a vast depth. Then came galaxies, billions of them. Then came the revelation that the universe is not static, that it is expanding. And suddenly, the question changed. We no longer asked only what lies above. We began to ask, how far does it go? Tonight, we follow that question to its most distant whisper, to the very edge, not a wall, not a border, but something stranger, and maybe, just maybe, something more wonderful than we have yet imagined. Now let's wonder about the shape of everything. Imagine you are floating, not through ordinary space, but through the very fabric of existence. There is no sound here, only silence as deep as thought. Above and below, in every direction, galaxies stretch outward like threads in a grand design. But what holds the threads? What is the design itself? To ask about the shape of the universe is to ask a question that touches everything: how space behaves, how time unfolds, and how the future might end. For centuries, people imagined the universe as a great sphere, a firmament of stars hanging in a dome. Others believed it might stretch outward forever, endless and dark, with no walls or center. Today, science gives us tools to measure space itself. By watching light move, galaxies drift, and ancient radiation echo through the void, we are learning to read the contours of reality. There are three major possibilities for space. If the universe is flat, it means space stretches outward evenly. Parallel lines never meet. Geometry behaves just as it did in school, even across the vastest distances. If it has positive curvature, like a sphere, then space loops back on itself. Go far enough in one direction, and you might come back from the other. If it has negative curvature, like a saddle, space bends away from itself endlessly, in a shape harder to imagine but no less real. These aren't just shapes. They decide how the universe lives and evolves. Current measurements from ancient light suggest that the universe is almost perfectly flat, but this does not guarantee it is infinite. A flat universe can still loop in complex ways we cannot perceive. It might be like a room of mirrors, seeming endless but still finite. Or it could stretch on forever, without boundary or return. Infinity challenges us. We expect things to have edges, endings, limits, but infinity means no border, no final step, no end to reach. The shape of space writes the future. A flat universe may expand forever, cooling into stillness. A closed one may collapse into fire. An open one may stretch apart until even light fades. These are not distant ideas. They shape how time flows, and how everything might end. Still, from a quiet star in a quiet galaxy, we ask. We build telescopes. We trace invisible patterns. We stare into space and see ourselves asking, and now you drift deeper. The question lingers. If the universe is growing, what is it growing into? What surrounds everything? Does space itself create room as it expands? Ahead, the stars do not race away. The space between them stretches. Now let yourself drift on expanding space. You are not moving. Not really. And yet the galaxies around you slip farther and farther away. Their light grows redder, stretched thin. It is not because they are fleeing through space like sparks from a fire. It is because space itself is stretching. Every moment more room appears between everything. The fabric of the cosmos grows not into something but into itself. There is no edge and no outer wall, just more space where there was none. This expansion is not a wind or a force. It is silent, constant, and immense. If you held two galaxies in place, they would not feel a push. But release them, and slowly, subtly, they would drift apart, carried by the swelling universe. It is as if the ruler used to measure distance keeps lengthening between every mark. This is not motion within space. It is motion of space. When astronomers looked into the night sky a century ago, they saw faint clouds. At first, many thought they were gas within our own galaxy. But Edwin Hubble discovered they were not part of the Milky Way. They were galaxies of their own, unimaginably far. And not only that, they were all receding. The farther they were, the faster they moved away. This became Hubble's law, and it revealed a quiet truth. The universe is expanding. This idea meant that the universe had once been smaller, denser, hotter. That time and space had a beginning. That everything we see came from a single compressed moment, now called the Big Bang. But it also meant the universe was not still. It was changing, flowing, opening. Expansion does not happen equally. Gravity pulls back. Regions filled with mass like galaxies and clusters resist the flow. They stay together, held by their own gravity, even as the space between them grows. Over time, matter forms patterns, webs, and long filaments floating in the dark. But between them stretches more and more emptiness. Imagine standing in space. Nothing would feel different. The stars would shine. The galaxies would drift. But silently, the scale would grow. Like ink spots on a balloon that swells not by movement, but by its surface expanding. This is what space does. And this change touches time too. Light from distant galaxies travels across stretching paths. Its waves grow longer. Its color shifts red. These galaxies are not just far. They are old, glowing from a younger time. You drift on. The light grows thinner and the silence deeper. Expansion is not something you watch. It is something you live inside. And still the question waits. If this continues, what happens to the galaxies beyond our reach? What happens when even their light can no longer catch us? Now let's gaze toward the horizon made of time. You are still drifting, weightless in a sea without direction. The light from distant galaxies touches you like gentle whispers from the past. But no matter how long you wait, there is a place you will never see, not because it is too far, but because the light from that place has not had time to reach you. This is the observable universe, the portion of the cosmos that has revealed itself through the patient journey of light, and beyond it lies silence, not emptiness, just lightless distance. In every direction there is a boundary. It is not a wall. It is not made of matter. It is made of time. The farthest galaxies you can observe are not the farthest that exist. They are simply the ones that had enough time to send their light to you. Everything beyond that is invisible, not because it hides, but because it has not yet spoken in light. You are not looking across space. You are looking into the past. The farther your eyes reach, the older the light becomes. The images of distant galaxies are ancient. Some are so far that we see them not as they are, but as they were when the universe was young. The cosmic microwave background is the oldest of all. It is not the light of stars, but the afterglow of creation itself. A faint, even hum across the sky, cold and ancient. It tells us there was once a time when the universe was too dense for light to move freely. Then, suddenly, it became transparent. That moment was the birth of sight. Every photon that has reached us since then began its journey in that light-filled dawn. But now, you ask, what lies beyond this horizon? More galaxies? A different universe? Nothing. The truth is, we do not know. It could be more of the same, endless in pattern and spread, or it could be different. The rules we know may not apply out there. It is not only a distance problem, it is a limit of causality. Beyond that horizon, things may exist, but they cannot touch you, not even with light. They are part of a region forever sealed off from your reach. You are watching a universe where time creates the border, not a curtain drawn by hand, but a veil pulled by age. You are not alone in this. Every observer in the universe has their own horizon, their own bubble of visible history, their own edge made of time. And as the universe expands, this edge moves, but not outward. It moves deeper into silence. Now let us wonder what lies beyond our sight. You drift just beneath the edge of knowing, staring into a direction that light has never traveled. Behind you lies the realm of the seen, the measured, the photographed. Ahead is something else entirely. You cannot look there. not because it is too far, but because time has not allowed the view. It is not darkness. It is the absence of light's arrival. The limit of observation is not a limit of existence. So what lies beyond? More stars? Endless galaxies repeating into the void? Or something entirely unknown, shaped by laws that never touched us? One possibility is simple yet staggering, that beyond our visible universe, there are simply more galaxies, more dust, more gravity, that the cosmos continues, vast and unbroken in every direction. But another idea lingers, that space is not infinite, and that what lies beyond is not more of the same, but something different altogether, something disconnected, something we may never contact. Some believe that beyond the observable universe, the same physics applies, that space continues, structure continues, and time flows just as it does here. But if the Big Bang was not a bang, but a stretch, a slow unfolding, then perhaps there are other patches, other cosmic bubbles like ours. Their light cannot reach us. Our light cannot reach them, each a separate island, expanding into its own infinity. The idea of the multiverse emerges from this, not fantasy, but a mathematical consequence of certain theories. That inflation, the rapid swelling of the early universe, might have happened not once, but many times, like bubbles in boiling water. Entire universes could emerge from the vacuum, each with its own fate. Some expanding, some collapsing, some never forming stars at all. But this is speculation. Beautiful, strange, and perhaps forever unprovable. We live in a universe where much is hidden, not by intention, but by light's limitation. We are bound not by what exists, but by what has had time to reach us. The edge is not a place. It is a time limit painted on space, and beyond it, the canvas is still blank to our eyes. Still, we keep asking. Still, we keep wondering. If one day we could outrun light itself, pierce the silence, sail into the unlit regions, what would we find? Would it be familiar? Or would it be something that makes our whole? Skies seemed like a single note in a much greater song. Now let's meet the silent architects behind the universe. You are still floating, not toward anything, but within something. Around you, galaxies shimmer and scatter, drifting outward on expanding space. But beneath this graceful dance is something invisible, something powerful and constant. Gravity, not as a pull you can feel, but as the quiet thread that ties the cosmos together. Without it, there would be no stars, no galaxies, no structure at all. Gravity is not just a force. It is the way mass shapes space itself. A planet curves space. A star bends time. A galaxy forms a ripple in the invisible field we float through. Light itself bends around these curves, turning the empty sky into a lens. And beyond the visible lies something stranger still. When scientists studied how galaxies move, they found a mystery. The stars at the edges were moving too fast, as if something unseen was holding them in place. This was not explained by any known matter, so they gave it a name: dark matter. It does not shine, reflect, or block light, but its gravity is real. It surrounds galaxies like a cloak, binding them, shaping their formation. It is one of the great invisible architects of the universe. We cannot see it. We cannot touch it, but we see its fingerprints on everything. It keeps galaxies together. It sculpts clusters. It guides the web of cosmic structure. Without it, the stars would scatter into silence. But even darker than dark matter is something more mysterious still. The expansion of the universe is accelerating. Galaxies are not just drifting apart, they are speeding away faster and faster. This was unexpected. Something is pushing space outward, working against gravity itself. Again, we gave it a name. Dark energy. We do not know what it is. It does not act like matter. It does not clump or gather. It is smooth, constant, and strange. It fills space without ever showing its shape. It may make up most of the energy in the universe. It is like a pressure built into the fabric of existence, stretching it faster as time moves forward. Together, gravity, dark matter, and dark energy form a silent framework. We live inside this invisible architecture. It shapes our sky, our galaxies, and our fate. And though we cannot see these builders, we are shaped by their design. They do not whisper. They do not shine. But they hold the cosmos in place while it quietly expands towards something we cannot yet name. Now let us drift through a universe without edges. You are moving without direction, without center, without destination. In ordinary places, everything has a boundary. A room has walls. A planet has an atmosphere. Even oceans end at shores. But here in the cosmos, those rules begin to dissolve. If you kept floating forever, never turning back, never slowing down, what would you find? Would you reach a wall? A sign? A border drawn in the stars? Or would you just keep going, endlessly, through the fabric of expanding space? When we ask about the edge of the universe, we imagine it like a balloon or a dome, a container holding stars and galaxies. But space is not contained. It does not sit inside anything else. It is not growing into a larger space. It is space itself that expands. And so, the idea of an edge becomes hard to hold. If the universe is infinite, then there is no edge, no border, no place where things end. But even if it is finite, it may still have no boundary. Just as the surface of the earth is finite but has no edge, space could loop back on itself, travel far enough in one direction, and you might return to where you began, without ever crossing a boundary. This kind of space is difficult to picture. Our minds want corners and frames, but the universe may offer none. It may be shaped like a higher dimensional sphere, or a torus, or something stranger still. No matter how far we travel, we may never find the end, because the end may not exist. And if the universe does have an edge, it might not be physical. It might be a limit of laws, a place where time behaves differently, or where matter cannot exist. Or it might be unreachable, forever beyond the light we can see. But more likely, there is no outer shell, no rim, no place to stand and look outward. Space itself is everything, and it stretches in all directions, not into something else, but into itself. This idea is both freeing and humbling. There is no edge to find. There is only more to explore. As you float onward, you begin to feel the truth of this. The stars do not end. The silence does not break. The journey has no border, only a deeper stillness that invites you to keep going. Now let's step closer to the question of infinity. You continue drifting, the stars behind you fading into points, the galaxies ahead growing dim. You wonder if there will ever be an end, a final place where the sky folds shut and space says no more. But nothing seems to change. Every corner of the sky reveals more stars, more darkness, more space. And so the question rises gently in your mind. Is the universe infinite? Not just very large, but truly endless, without edge or repetition, without any boundary at all. Infinity is not just a number that stretches beyond counting. It is a concept that resists the structure of the mind. We are used to beginnings and endings, to borders and frames. But an infinite universe would offer none of these. You could travel forever, look forever, and never come to the edge. The sky would always open before you. It would contain all directions, all scales, all distances. And yet we cannot confirm this. We see only a small part of the whole. The observable universe is vast, but it is not the total. It is limited by time, by light, by the speed at which the universe has grown. Beyond it may lie more of the same, or something else entirely. Observations suggest that space is flat, or nearly so. That would hint at an infinite structure. But the curve may be so slight, so gentle, that it hides itself in the folds of time. If the universe loops, we may never see the loop. If it ends, we may never reach the ending. And so infinity remains a possibility, a quiet, patient one. If it is true, then somewhere, far beyond our view, another version of you may exist, shaped by the same particles in the same patterns. Not because destiny demands it, but because in an infinite space, even the rarest thing repeats. But even if the universe is not infinite, it is still more than we can touch, more than we can reach. It is big enough to hold mystery forever. Whether it ends or not, it feels endless to us. And as you float, the question lingers, not as a puzzle, but as a presence. Not everything must be answered to be felt. Infinity is not a wall to climb. It is the absence of the wall itself. Now let us move toward the end of seeing. You are still adrift in a calm that hides motion. Around you, galaxies glow quietly, but they are slipping away. Not because they are fleeing like ships in the night, but because space itself is growing between you and them. You watch them fade, not from view, but from possibility. Their light stretches. It grows longer, redder, colder. This is not ordinary distance. It is cosmic redshift, the deepening echo of motion woven into space itself. At first, galaxies moved apart slowly. Their light changed just slightly. But as the universe expanded faster, the shift became stronger. Now, many galaxies send light that will never reach us. The space between us stretches faster than light can cross. These galaxies fall behind the horizon of our future. They still exist, they still shine, but their light is no longer on its way. It is like waving goodbye across a river that has become an ocean. The light you see now is a memory, and soon that memory will grow faint, then vanish entirely. The universe is not just expanding, it is erasing the connections between things. As time flows forward, more and more of the universe will slip beyond our ability to see it. Even with perfect eyes and perfect machines, we will never recover what is lost. The night sky will grow quieter. One by one, the galaxies will blink out not because they die, but because their light can no longer keep up. Eventually, only the nearest galaxies will remain. Then just our own. Then none. The cosmos will not go dark in a flash. It will fade like the last notes of a distant song, and we will be left with silence. This is not a myth or a metaphor. It is the future written into physics. Unless something changes, the visible universe will shrink, not in size, but in meaning. The edge will come closer, not because it moves, but because everything else drifts away. You float in this moment, watching the sky as it once was, knowing that even as you observe, it is disappearing. The stars you see now may already be gone. The galaxies you admire may already be silent. The light is slow and space is fast. This is the balance that writes the future. The end of seeing is not a failure of vision. It is the triumph of time. Now drift deeper into the places falling behind the light. You look outward and still see galaxies, millions, stretching across space like scattered lanterns. But what you see is not what exists now. You are watching light from the past, light that left its source when the universe was young. As the expansion accelerates, the space between us and distant galaxies grows faster than light can bridge. Those galaxies are not just far, they are unreachable. Their light will never arrive. It was always too late. They have already fallen behind a horizon that is not drawn by distance, but by speed itself. The horizon we speak of here is not the same as the one that marks what we have already seen. This one is different. It is a limit on what we ever will see. It grows around us like a bubble, and beyond it, galaxies vanish from possibility. Some of them are still glowing, still forming stars, still dancing through cosmic structure, but they are no longer part of our future. They have become part of the cosmic past, not because they ceased to be, but because their light can no longer find us. You could send a message now, a beam of light aimed at one of these distant worlds, and it would never arrive. The space between you and it stretches too quickly. The light would fall behind, like a runner on a track that keeps growing with every step. This loss is not dramatic. It is slow, gentle, silent, but it is final. With every billion years, more galaxies cross this invisible line. What once was part of our shared universe becomes isolated, orphaned by expansion. Eventually, even galaxies we can see today will become shadows too faint to detect. Their light will stretch so far into the infrared, into the radio, that no instrument will ever catch it. Not because we fail, but because the universe itself refuses to carry it to us. One day, only the closest companions will remain. The galaxies that are gravitationally bound to us, moving with us instead of away. Beyond them, nothing. The night sky will no longer be filled with a map of distant places. It will become local, then personal, then solitary. This is not a fear. It is a rhythm. Expansion is not cruel. It is simply large and persistent. You are still drifting, watching a sky where the light is running out of time. Ahead lies a future where distance and speed have built a quiet, unreachable vastness. Now let us listen to the echoes of inflation. You are drifting backward in time now, not by motion, but by thought. The galaxies fade. The stars vanish. You are moving toward the beginning. Before the sky was bright, before space had structure, before even atoms could hold together. What lies at the start is not a moment of explosion, but a moment of sudden expansion. In the first fraction of a second after the Big Bang, something extraordinary happened. The universe expanded faster than the speed of light, not in violation of nature, but because space itself was doing the growing. This moment is called inflation. In an instant so brief we cannot picture its length, the universe went from microscopic to vast, not by flowing outward, but by swelling from within. The smoothness of space, the near-perfect balance of energy, the seeds of all structure, these may all be the frozen results of inflation. Without it, the cosmos might be a scattered mess, broken and uneven. But with it, we are left with a sky that matches itself across billions of light years, as if all regions were once touching. sharing, held in a single breath. The evidence for this lies in the background, the cosmic microwave background, that faint glow left over from the early universe, shows subtle patterns, small fluctuations in temperature, like fingerprints on the oldest light. These are the echoes, ripples of inflation frozen into the fabric of space. They are tiny, but they are everything. They became the galaxies, the stars, the planets, and in time, the eyes that look back at them. But inflation raises deeper questions too. What caused it to begin? What caused it to end? Was it a one-time event? Or does it happen again and again in places we cannot reach? Some theories suggest that our entire universe is just one patch in a much larger landscape, where inflation creates new bubbles endlessly, each with its own laws, its own physics, its own story. If that is true, then the universe is not just vast. It is part of a greater reality, one we can never see in full. Yet we carry the echo. Every atom in your body, every star in the sky, holds the memory of that first moment. It is not a sound, but a shape. Not a noise, but a pattern. You are floating through it still, listening not with ears, but with existence itself. Now let us face the horizon problem and other cosmic riddles. As you drift through the calm sea of space, you notice something strange. No matter where you look in the sky, the temperature of the cosmic microwave background is almost exactly the same. It does not matter which direction you turn. Every patch of the ancient sky glows with the same quiet warmth. But this uniformity is a puzzle. These regions of space are so far apart that they could never have exchanged light or energy. There was never time for them to communicate. And yet they agree, as if they had once shared a single moment, a shared history before being pulled apart. This is the horizon problem. How can such distant regions be so alike if they were never in contact? This is where inflation offers an answer. If the early universe expanded unimaginably fast, then all regions we now see could have once been very close. They would have had time to interact, to smooth out their differences, to settle into balance. Then, with inflation, they stretched apart, freezing their sameness across the sky. This explanation fits the evidence, but it also opens more mysteries. Why did inflation begin at all? What drove it to stop? How did it leave behind just enough structure to form stars, galaxies, and eventually us? And why does the universe seem so flat, so finely balanced between expansion and collapse? That balance is another cosmic riddle. A universe with slightly more mass would have collapsed long ago. With slightly less, it would have expanded too fast for stars to form. Yet here we are, balanced on a narrow thread, living in a universe that seems just right for complexity to arise. Some call this fine-tuning. Others seek deeper principles, hoping the laws of physics must lead to this outcome naturally. But we do not yet know. We see the effects, we trace the clues, but the full design remains hidden. Like reading a book when the first pages are missing, we piece together what came before from the echoes it left behind. And so we search, not just for answers, but for better questions. The horizon problem reminds us that the universe is not only vast, but also connected in ways we cannot easily explain. It asks us to think beyond ordinary rules, to imagine beginnings that are not small, but wide, not slow, but sudden. And in that imagining, we get closer to the truth, even if we do not fully see it. Now let us ask, what lies beyond if the universe ends? You have followed the trail of galaxies into silence. You have watched the edge of light retreat and seen space stretch past vision. But now a deeper question rises. If the universe has an end, what comes after it? Not an ending in time, but in structure. If space reaches a limit, what lies beyond that limit? Is there something outside the everything? We know when we think of endings, we imagine walls, barriers, or empty fields beyond the last step. But space may not end that way. If the universe is infinite, there may be no edge at all. But if it is finite, then what holds it, what surrounds it? These are not questions with simple answers. If space curves like a sphere, it could be self-contained. You could travel forever without hitting a wall, returning eventually to your starting point. That is one kind of finite, a space that loops rather than ends. But what if there is a boundary? What if the universe is like a bubble suspended in something larger? Some theories suggest that our universe may be a membrane, floating in a higher dimensional space. Beyond it could be other universes, each with their own laws, their own time, their own realities. In this view, the outside is not empty. It is rich and layered, though forever beyond our reach. Still, we must be careful. Asking what is outside the universe may be like asking, what is north of the North Pole? Space and time are not just in the universe. They are part of what the universe is. If the universe ends, it may be the end of space itself. There may be no outside to reach, because outside does not exist without space to define it. And yet, we cannot help but wonder. Our minds crave direction. We want the story to keep going. We want the next page, even if it lies beyond the last. Maybe the ending is not a wall, but a transition. Maybe the universe evolves into something else. Something without stars, without matter, without time as we know it. Or maybe the universe is part of a greater system, like a cell in a vast cosmic body. We do not know, but in the quiet of deep space, you feel the weight of this question pressing inward from the edges of thought. If the universe ends, what remains, what holds it, what waits beyond the furthest reach of space? Not a place, perhaps, but a mystery deeper than distance. Now let us listen to the murmurs of the multiverse. You have followed the threads of space and time to their outer edges, and now you feel something strange, an echo that does not belong to our universe alone. A quiet suggestion that this reality may not be the only one. The idea of a multiverse is not just science fiction. It is a possibility born from the deepest corners of physics. If the process that created our universe is not unique, then it may happen again, again, and again. Space may not be empty. It may be a seething sea of potential, where tiny regions bubble into universes, each one separate, each with its own beginning, its own expansion, its own laws. This idea flows naturally from inflation. If space can stretch rapidly in one place, it might do so elsewhere too. Inflation may never fully stop. It may leave behind a landscape filled with countless universes, each forming from the quantum foam-like stars appearing in a dark sky. In one, gravity may be stronger. In another, atoms may not exist. Some may be stillborn, others chaotic. And one of the mammawas might be just right for stars, for life, for us. We cannot see these other universes. Their light, if they have any, will never reach us. They are not just far, they are causally disconnected. But the mathematics suggests they might be there, and quantum mechanics, which governs the tiniest particles, whispers something even stranger, that every decision, Every possible path splits the universe into branches. In one, you turned left. In another, you stayed. Each outcome, each choice, forming a separate thread of reality. These are not proven ideas, but they arise from real questions. Why are the laws of physics so finely tuned? Why does our universe seem balanced for complexity? Could it be because there are many universes, and we simply live in the one where life is possible? The multiverse may not be a place we visit. It may be a reason we exist, a background that explains why our sky holds structure, why our atoms hold together, why time flows gently forward. And though we may never touch the other worlds, the thought of them changes how we see this one. It reminds us that our universe, vast as it is, might be just a ripple in a much greater sea. And here you are, floating in one ripple, wondering about all the rest. Now let us drift toward time's edge and the limits of before. You have followed space to its farthest stretches, but now the path leads inward, toward the earliest moment, where time itself begins to blur. We ask what happened at the start of the universe, and then we ask what came before. But these are not simple questions. At the beginning of time, the clock itself was born. There may be no before because time may not have existed. This is hard to imagine. Everything we know has a before. Every thought has a moment that led to it. But time may not be like space. It may not stretch endlessly in both directions. Instead, it may have a beginning, a first beat, a first ripple in the calm. The Big Bang was not an explosion in space. It was the creation of space and time together. Asking what came before is like asking, what lies north of the North Pole? The question dissolves when you arrive, and yet some theories try to look past the veil. Perhaps time does stretch further back. Perhaps our universe emerged from another, in a cycle that repeats, a bounce that turns endings into beginnings. In one model, the universe collapses, then rebounds. In another, it is born from quantum fluctuations, a tiny spark of energy becoming space and time. Or perhaps our universe is the child of another, budding off from a parent cosmos in a chain without end. These ideas are hard to test. We look at the oldest light, but it only shows us what happened after time began to move. The first moments are hidden behind a fog of energy and density we cannot yet pierce, and yet their shadow touches everything. The structure of space, the balance of forces, the presence of matter, all of it shaped by those earliest seconds. Time may not be absolute. It may bend and twist. It may begin and end, or it may be part of a larger picture we cannot yet see. And so you drift near the edge of knowing. You feel the silence that came before sound, the stillness that came before motion, not because it speaks, but because it shaped everything that followed. The edge of time is not a wall. It is a question written into every moment. And as you float in this vast quiet, you realize the past is not behind you. It is beneath everything. Now let us enter the expanding now. You are floating not only in space, but in time. Each moment unfolds softly, like a wave in a boundless sea. The present is not fixed. It is growing. It stretches forward as space stretches outward. The now you live in is not a single point. It is a horizon that grows with you. As you breathe, galaxies slip further apart. As you sleep, the edges of the universe expand into places that were not space before. This is not something you feel. It is not a wind or a noise, but it is constant. The distance between unbound galaxies increases. New space appears. the now becomes larger. It is strange to imagine that the moment you live in is not a moment at all, but a boundary, a living edge between what is known and what is still becoming. When we speak of now, we mean this second, but in the cosmos, now includes everything that exists at this very moment. Even if we cannot see it, even if its light will not reach us for billions of years. The expanding now is a shell that includes all matter, all motion, all time that is happening together. It moves forward, and with it, space grows. Light travels inside this shell, but the shell itself keeps moving. Some places will never send their light to us, not because they are hiding, but because the now is growing faster than light can cross it. This is why the universe will never be fully visible. The now is too big. It is always expanding. You are a traveler inside this moment, carried forward not by speed, but by time itself unfolding. Every second, the edge of what is real becomes wider. The galaxies that once shared our sky now drift beyond reach. They still exist. They are still part of now. But they are becoming part of a now that we can no longer touch. This is the quiet truth of cosmic time. The present is not still. It flows, it stretches, and in doing so, it pulls the universe further into itself. You are not falling behind. You are simply held in place while the now keeps expanding around you. Space does not wait. It continues to open even in sleep, even in silence. And you, adrift in this growing moment, are a witness to a time that will never be the same again. Now let us think of the galaxies we will never meet. As you float through space, you look outward and see light that began its journey billions of years ago. Every point of light is a galaxy, full of stars, planets, and perhaps the beginnings of life. But not all galaxies are equal in time or distance. Some are close, moving with us, bound by gravity. Others are so far that they are already drifting beyond reach. You see them now, but you will never touch them. Not because of distance alone, but because of how the universe is expanding. There is a limit, not of vision, but of connection. These galaxies are real, but they are part of a different future. Their light will arrive slower each year, stretched by expansion, faded by time. Eventually, it will stop reaching us altogether. These galaxies are not lost in space. They are lost in time. We are part of a group of galaxies, bound together by mutual gravity. This group will stay close. We may merge. We may change. But we will remain a family in the cosmic ocean. Everything else drifts away. Even now, galaxies that once filled the night sky with wonder are becoming invisible. Their light stretches too far into the infrared, then the radio, then beyond. Our telescopes grow more powerful, but space grows faster. The universe is not still. It is slipping apart. What we see now is a memory. What we will see tomorrow will be less. This is not a tragedy. It is the natural rhythm of space. It gives, then it lets go. The galaxies we will never meet are still out there, forming stars, orbiting black holes, spinning in silence. But they are passengers on a different path, carried away on the river of expansion. We are not chasing them. They are not running. It is space itself that pulls us apart. You might imagine reaching them, crossing the void. But even light, the fastest traveler we know, cannot close the growing gap. And so they become shadows on the edge of time. Their stories are not ours to know. Their skies are not ours to see. But the fact that they were visible, even once, reminds us of how connected the universe was. You float still in a shrinking island of stars. The sky is not falling, but unfolding. The galaxies we will never meet become a quiet farewell written in light. Now, let us turn inward to the cosmic horizon within us. You have floated across space, looked back in time, and watched galaxies drift beyond reach. But the most mysterious boundary may not lie in space. It may lie in thought. Within your mind is the ability to imagine what you cannot see. You picture galaxies you will never visit, moments you will never live, and distances your body could never cross. The mind carries a horizon of its own. Just as the universe has an edge defined by light and time, you have an edge defined by understanding. And yet, like the cosmos, your inner world expands. With every thought, every question, the boundary of what you know grows a little wider. We often speak of the universe as out there, something far and separate, but it is also within. The atoms in your body were formed in stars. The oxygen you breathe was forged in stellar winds. The calcium in your bones was once drifting in a dying supernova. You are not just part of the universe. You are a piece of its memory, a vessel of its patterns. And within you is the ability to wonder why it exists at all. This capacity to reflect, to ask, to seek, creates a horizon that moves with you. The more you learn, the further the boundary of the unknown retreats. But it never disappears. Like the cosmic horizon, it always lies just ahead, inviting you onward. You do not need to travel to the edge of the universe to feel its mystery. You only need to sit in silence and ask what else might be true. The great riddles of space, its size, its shape, its fate are also questions of perception. You wonder where it all began, but that wonder begins in you. The stars you see are echoes of light, but your thoughts are echoes of the same laws that shaped those stars. Physics is not distant. It lives in every heartbeat, every nerve, every idea. The cosmic horizon is not just a limit to vision. It is a frontier of curiosity. It defines where we must look next, not only with our eyes, but with imagination. You float in space, yes, but space also floats in you. The mystery of the cosmos is not only that it is large, it is that you, small and finite, can still ask about infinity. Now let us realize that you are the edge looking back. All this time, you have floated outward, watching the universe unfold around you. You have seen galaxies vanish over horizons, felt time stretch and space expand. You have asked what lies beyond, what came before, and what remains unseen. But now you must pause and turn inward again. For in this vast, quiet cosmos, you are not merely an observer. You are part of the story. You are the edge. You are the one through whom the universe becomes aware of itself. Without you, the stars shine in silence. The galaxies drift without meaning. Light travels endlessly, but no one watches it arrive. It is your presence, your mind, your gaze, your questions that gives the cosmos its reflection. The edge is not only out there, it is where you stand when you ask what it all means. You are made of the same matter that forms suns. You are shaped by the same forces that sculpt galaxies. But unlike dust or stone, you can look back. You can wonder. You can reach across time in thought, if not in motion. This ability is not small. It is rare. Perhaps it is precious. You are a frontier of understanding, as real as any boundary of light. When you ask about the edge of the universe, you are also asking about your place in it. What you are doing, now listening, imagining, Seeking this is the very act that defines the edge. Not a limit of space, but the limit of awareness. Each time you learn, the edge moves. Each time you understand, it grows. The universe is not separate from you. It is inside your questions, your hopes, your dreams. This is not just poetry. It is a truth carried by atoms and equations. You are made from stars. You are shaped by time. You are touched by the expansion of space. And yet, you think, you wonder, you look back. The edge is not a wall or a final step. It is a reflection in your eyes. You are not outside the story. You are the place where the story turns around and sees itself. This is not just about knowledge. It is about presence. You are the witness and the question, the silence and the voice. In a universe with no center, you are a point from which meaning expands. Now let us rest and sleep well, star traveler. You have drifted through the fabric of space and time, crossed invisible boundaries, and stood at the edge of knowing. You have followed the light from galaxies long gone, touched the silence beyond the horizon, and heard the faint echoes of creation. The journey was not about distance. It was about understanding. Now the stars begin to soften. The questions grow quiet, and space itself seems to breathe with you. There is comfort in this vastness, not because it is simple, but because it endures. The universe will keep expanding. Galaxies will keep drifting. Time will keep unfolding, long after your thoughts have faded into sleep. And yet, what you carry will remain. The memory of curiosity, the weight of wonder, the simple act of asking what lies beyond. That is what shapes this moment, even as the universe turns on without you. You have seen that the cosmos is not a place of clear endings. It is a place of deep patterns, always shifting, always revealing more. You are part of that pattern. You are not outside it. The atoms in your body are echoes of ancient stars. The rhythm of your breath was written by gravity and time. Even your dreams belong to the universe, because they rise from matter that was once light. You are not lost in space. You are held by it, not because you are large, but because you are aware. That awareness is rare. It is a brief spark in the long night, but it matters. Just as stars mark their place in the sky, your thoughts mark their place in time. They do not change the universe, but they witness it, and that is something. So now, as the galaxies grow faint and the silence becomes complete, you may rest. Not because everything is known, but because everything is still becoming. Sleep not in ignorance, but in awe. Let the questions wait. Let the stars drift. You have journeyed far enough for now. Let the edge hold you gently. Let the dark cradle you with what it knows. There is more to see someday. But for this moment, this breath, this pause in the turning of time, sleep well. The universe is still here, and so are you.